Here once again. Good morning, good afternoon. This session is being recorded, so if you're unwilling or unable to be part of the recording, you may drop off. I'm hoping everybody can see my screen here. I'm very excited as this is the first in a series of webinars that we plan to do for Work 365 and the CSP solution offerings. We're going to go for about 45 minutes today. So a little bit about me. My name is Ismail Nawala. I'm the CEO of IOTAP based out of the DC metro area. I'm involved in some of our local chapters like IMCP and CRMUG in leadership roles. We're a cloud services company with offices and customers around the world in India and UK and the Middle East as well. We started out as a development services company and started selling cloud services in 2010 with BPOS and then Office 365. We got to our first 150 seats in about 3 months and our first 1,000 seats in about a year. And we've been growing our cloud business since then. So today's session is really about, how we can use Dynamics CRM to run our CSP business. I'll get here into the agenda. We talk a little bit about state of affairs with cloud services, talk a little bit about partner maturity models, give you an overview of Work 365 and how we use it, share some of our results, and then hopefully we'll close out with some final remarks. I'm hoping everybody can see my screen. All right, thank you. Move on to the next slide here. So Microsoft had a blowout quarter recently. Their intelligent and cloud business has been growing like gangbusters, right? However, there are some very interesting market dynamics going on for us. There is a rapid pace of innovation that is not necessarily in our control. There's an IT talent war going on, and it's not easy or cheap for any of us to find good resources. Our margins are shrinking. There's very strong vendor dominance. In our case, we're all in the same boat and we all follow one piper, that is Microsoft. And the barrier to entry is kind of low, and Microsoft and distributors and the vendors are aggressively growing the channel and adding more partners every day. And on the customer side, we're expected to do more for less. There's an abundance of information out there about us and about our products and services and pricing. We have to be that one-stop shop and solve business problems. They're no longer looking at us as just a technology vendor, but as solution and business consultants. So we're striving to be industry and vertically focused, right? And what do we do going forward? What do we do here in this situation? So as a channel partner, we typically fall into one or more of these categories. We're either a VAR, ISV, SI, or an MSP. Each of these partners types have a different role and slightly different business model. However, with cloud services, the lines are getting blurred. Initially, Microsoft and the vendors had partners resell their products with some value additions, right? That was the typical VAR model with GP margins around the 15%, where they were generating volumes. Now Microsoft is asking partners like us and you to build IP through differentiated product offerings with the software to drive consumption on Azure. As a partner, we can sell our own stuff. If you look at this slide, really what I'm trying to say is, we have a bunch of different combinations where we can service and provision products. We can sell our own products, which we're looking to all build. We can sell the distributors' products and stuff, and we can also sell the vendors' products. We can have the ability to provide cloud services from different vendors and provide these from different distributors. You are potentially a distributor yourself. We package them up in innovative ways and deliver them with creative payment terms. All these different combinations and solution offerings means that we need technology and a platform that can give you the flexibility to deliver the service with the consumption options for your customers. What I'm going to do is do a quick poll here so we can get a sense of how we feel about our CSP business. I'm going to launch the poll here. I'll give it about 10-20 seconds. If you just go ahead and vote, that'd be great. All right, I'm going to close this poll out here. In another 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. I'll share some of these results. It looks like most of us voted in the second and third with the second and third option. 30% are somewhat confident, and 70% of us are trying to figure it out, not sure exactly what to do. I appreciate the voting there. Thank you for that. So let's talk about that a little bit. I just returned from Boca Raton recently, where I attended the Ingram Cloud Summit conference. It was a great event. It's entirely focused on the cloud. They've been doing this now for several years. And this year's Cloud Summit was not only their biggest Cloud Summit event, but it was the biggest event ever. They spent a lot of money taking care of their vendors, partners, and customers like us. So Ingram's a large company. They're a $45 billion company. However, I think what I found shocking was that their cloud business is only 2% of their revenue. What I also found fascinating is that they've gone through some of the same challenges we deal with as partners and resellers. They made mistakes along the way. They tried different things. Took several years actually to become profitable as a cloud business, and they're still learning and evolving. At the conference, they presented something called a Cloud Awesomeness Roadmap. That's what I'm showing here on the left, where they categorize partners into one of these 4 stages in the cloud evolution. The build stage is sort of the first stage, which is the foundational stage in the journey of the cloud services. And they said 60% of their partners were in this stage. This is the stage where partners will have typically 1 to 3 cloud solutions. They have very few processes around billing and automation and provisioning. It takes a lot of labor hours and several days for these back-end processes to take place, right? The next stage is what they call the breadth partners. These breadth partners start to do some cross-selling. They have some level of automation and provide between 4 to 10 cloud solutions, right? They say about 30% of the partners are in this stage. So majority of the partners are still figuring this out, and that's kind of what we had in our poll as well. These partners have a lower cost of customer acquisition, and customer retention is slightly higher. However, customers with the breadth partners also still find it pretty easy to switch, and the churn rate is usually around 15%. They start to think a little bit more about customer expansion, the land and grab strategy, where cross-selling then becomes part of their goals, right? The depth partners is the next stage, where they have about 10 or more cloud offerings. They're looking at IaaS, and their portfolio is expanding. In this stage, they said they're about 9% of the partners, where they've developed some of their own offerings, solution offerings. They are vertically focused, and they start to differentiate themselves in their vertical market, and they use tactics like digital marketing. And finally, they said the scale partners. This is only 1% of their entire partner ecosystem. The reason I thought these numbers would be useful is Ingram being a large partner, Ingram being a large distributor, would have similar demographic characteristics to what's probably out there in the general partner ecosystem, whether you're working with Ingram or not. Anyway, these scale partners have fully automated processes. What they say is automation is core to what they do, including change management, invoicing, customer service, and they focus on customer experience with self-service. They sell around 10 plus cloud offerings. They use things like omni-channel approaches, which means they can do email, chat, portals, and of course, phone-based customer intake. They know the end-to-end total cost of ownership and focus on acquiring new customers, because the cost of service and processes for these partners is very well defined. So these partners are primarily scaling their business. And this is sort of where we all want to go, is we want to be able to scale the cloud services business. Do another quick poll here. If you don't mind voting, what I'd like to see is how many of us on the call are working with a distributor, who the distributor is, and how many of us are working directly with partners, directly with Microsoft. I'll give it another 30 seconds. Okay, I think we've got all our results in. I will attempt to share this. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a distribution, but most people on the call are direct partners, which is great because there's some opportunities and challenges, and we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, moving on here. So why are we all in the CSP business, right? Besides the fact that Microsoft is making us do this. The ultimate objective for us is to run and operate a profitable cloud business. So profitability really has to be an important part of this discussion. And it comes through either in keeping your revenue the same and lowering your costs, or keeping your costs in control and adding more revenue. We all know that we can't measure real profitability with just a handful of customers. It takes years and a lot of customers to know what these costs are and what the processes are, and then finally optimize these processes. As I mentioned, even a company like Ingram took 4 years, several years, in fact, to become profitable. As you can see in this chart, those who've been working with cloud technology for more than 3 years are outperforming with growth around 1.8x times those who've been involved in the cloud for less than 3 years. Their GP is healthy and significant, like 1.2x for the partners who've been doing this in the cloud for longer. But the reality is to scale. A reality of scale is to the level that you cannot use manual processes. In order to scale, you have to manage your overheads and cost of service, because these will impact your net profit. This is purely a result of manual effort. So if you want to scale without automation, your labor costs, potentially even errors, will impact your bottom line. So let's quickly get a baseline of these different metrics. MRR is the monthly recurring revenue from all your services and products. This is a very important metric because a lot of us still have one-off revenue that we collect, and our goal is to drive higher MRR to increase valuations for our businesses, right? On the cost side, we have the customer acquisition cost, which is typically your sales and marketing costs, your cost of goods that you sell, and your cost of service. Now, this is your billing, credit card fees, and all the other costs that you take on to service the customer over the long haul. So since we talked about the customer, let's get on to something what I'd like to talk to you about is a customer journey. This is an example of a customer journey, of the different stages that a customer interacts with us as a partner. We go through a discovery phase where they may find you online, excuse me, or through a referral or cold call. Then comes the evaluation phase, excuse me, where you propose the service and negotiate and sell the customer on what they really need. All right, they eventually buy and you implement the services for them. And then you go on to the realization phase. This is the phase where the customer and us are really engaged for the long haul. This is where all the cross-selling, changes in subscriptions, growth or reduction, support calls, and all kinds of other service activities happen. Now let's start to map out the costs we talked about on the previous slide to the customer journey. The first two stages are what we call the customer acquisition cost, which is, again, your sales and marketing costs. The next stage is the buy stage, which is usually a short phase, but it's important from a customer experience standpoint, so we make sure we call that out. After that, you implement the services. This is your direct cost of implementation. Once you implement the services, now you start to realize the cost of service. right? We tried to benchmark these costs for ourselves to determine what they were like. And what we found is that we were spending a lot of time and energy in this particular section called the cost of service. As we started transitioning our customers from the advisor model to the CSP model in 2016, and we got to about 20 customers on the CSP side, our manual processes were just coming in the way of delivering good customer experience and really running the business. We found that about 25% of the subscriptions had one change every month. So if we had about 100 subscriptions, 25 of those would have a change, either an addition or subtraction, or something that we had to take action on. We were spending about 2 to 3 hours a day between accounts, customer service, and sales to track the licenses and generate invoices. The customers would complain about wanting to provision the licenses themselves. They had a portal through the admin center for themselves, and they lost that ability when we converted them to CSP. So we started to incentivize them with discounts and terms. This then created a pressure on our margins and added more time and energy for us to manage all these different agreements and contracts. We could have exposed our disties marketplace to them, but then that's not an ideal customer experience. And more importantly, that would have locked us into using only one distie. This is when we realized we had to put a system in place that could deliver both great customer experience and keep our cost of service low. So now we have about 400 customers around the world using our cloud services. I'd like to do another quick poll just to see what we're using to manage our customers here. Okay, that's great. I'm going to close the poll out. Give it another 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 10. All right, that's quite interesting. I'm going to share the poll here. So it looks like majority of us are using Dynamics, which is great, and there's a smattering between ConnectWise, Autotask, and some other CRM system, which is pretty typical. But it's good to see a lot of partners using Dynamics here on the call. All right. Now, before we move on to the hows and how the application works, let's talk a little bit about one very important aspect. Everyone on this call is a Microsoft partner. That's probably why, that's how you got the emails and the invitations or personal invites. You either have some silver or gold competencies, or you're working your way there. On the left side, I have what I call costs, and on the right side, I have some of the benefits and things that we get out of the relationship, right? So I'd like to use this again as a data point and benchmark. On the cost side, we have the annual program fees that we pay every year. We attend events like Inspire and pay for all our logistics and travel there. There are certain learning sites and premium sites, digital sites that we sometimes have to pay for. Then there are training and certification costs. You may have other program fees and relationships that you've invested in from a membership standpoint. And finally, there's the time that you invest in the Microsoft relationship with your monthly calls and consuming all the various announcements and business process changes, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is that we as a partner have hard costs that we invest in the relationship. And anytime there's a direct cost from Microsoft, they make us pay for it, which is fine because they have about 20,000 partners, good partners, actually, around the world. And I think about 600,000 partners enrolled in some sort of partner program. So now let's take a look at what we get for this investment, right? On the right side, we get the ability to sell these products, which is great because they are some of the best products in the marketplace out there. We get access to marketing content to generate leads and drive campaigns. We get incentives, rebates, and margins, spiffs and biffs and other Fs. And finally, you get the IURs, right, of their products. I'm sure most of us that are doing any sort of cloud services use Office 365. I can see that 50% of the folks on the call are also using Dynamics 365, which is great. But if you think a little deeply about the left and the right side, you will see that as partners, we pay for every single thing that's a hard cost. And everything we get is really to drive just more sales for Microsoft, right? Even the IURs. They want us to use the apps and services so we understand them and leverage them. And because these are software products, they actually cost Microsoft little or nothing in some cases, right, to make them available to us. The point is that they know exactly what they're doing to drive sales. And as most of you know, and we talked about this, they had an extremely successful quarter, right? So Microsoft is a powerful sales engine with a lot of us driving those sales. So what can we do as partners is leverage all this to sell more and use as much as we can to lower our costs. Now, going back into that customer experience and journey, taking all those different phases, what we did is we have implemented CRM to track each and every customer phase through the journey. We use third-party tools for live chats, email marketing, marketing automation. Our entire sales process is mapped into our Dynamics CRM system. We use that also for support and customer service, and leverage Dynamics CRM to provide self-service, which is really what has helped us deliver great customer experience and lower the cost of service. Our entire organization currently uses Dynamics CRM all the way from the marketing, from the initial point where the lead is generated, down to the accounting folks that use it to generate invoices. So Dynamics CRM really has been our main application to run our entire cloud business. So now let's talk a little bit about what is Work 365. In addition to being a cloud service provider, we have had an ISV side of the business where we built and sold Dynamics and SharePoint apps and add-ons for our customers and partners since 2013. They were under the Work 365 brand. Those applications like Record Clone, Report Scheduler, and Email to Case are still available, and they're called out by their specific names. However, Work 365 is the suite of applications now that we're helping partners with to run a successful CSP practice. And it's built entirely on Dynamics 365. Now, going back to why we did this, why we built Work 365 this way, is when we started to evaluate systems to scale our CSP business, we looked at about 6 systems over the course of about 6 to 8 months. They were SaaS applications. They provided some level of branding and customization. Some of them had ongoing fees, along with usage fees that were, and their pricing was tied to the revenue. They charged us anywhere from 2 to 7 points on our sales. We would have to maintain and administer yet another system and train our users and administrators as well. It would have taken us about 1 to 3 months to implement this change and transition over to this system, set up all the products, and then the issue really was that all the data would be actually in their system. And there was very little integration capabilities back to Dynamics. And being a Dynamics user, we knew we wanted to keep everything in one system. As I mentioned in the previous slide, our relationship with Microsoft, we know we're not changing that side of the business. We know that Dynamics 365 is going to be available through our IURs, and that's going to be our system of record for all customer information. And we wanted to customize and build our own product SKUs. So we wanted to build those custom services that our end customers could use while retaining all the margin. The reality is that some of our customers are 5-seaters and some of them are many 100-seaters. Some of them have many 100 seats, right? And we needed one consistent overall experience for our entire team, including sales, service, and for the customer. So we went live with our system in the middle of 2017, last year. And I'd like to talk a little bit about what Work 365 includes. It has 4 major solution components. On the left is subscription management and invoicing, where you can create custom products and services, provide flexible terms like monthly billing, annual billing, and quarterly billing, track provisioning from any provider, including yourself, generate invoices on a consistent and timely basis every single day in an automated way. Then we have the self-service component, which is built using Dynamics portals, where your customers can manage their subscriptions, request changes. These changes then automatically flow back into your Dynamics CRM system and get recorded as changes there. There's no manual human intervention required. If you add if you change any quantities in the CRM, that also gets reflected back for the customer to see directly in their self-service portal. Customer service. We have email to case automation, where you can automatically assign cases, route them to the right text, track full email conversations against a case, and have the history there in CRM using the CRM capabilities. And then finally, the e-commerce and payments piece. Our e-commerce platform integrates straight into Dynamics CRM, further extending what a customer can do by not only managing what they currently have, but also shop around and purchase new services because of its cross-selling and upselling capabilities. Right? A lot of partners I talk to tell me that email works fine for provisioning requests. And my take on that is you don't have to stop emails, but you still need a way to extend your capabilities and provide better experience by enabling those channels that are custom built for you, that are custom for you. I've attached a PDF for you to download. It should be available in the handout section. I'm hoping you can see that in your application and get access to that. So Work 365 is a customer experience solution. And the reason we're saying that it is because at the end of it, that's what we're all trying to deliver. If you're an indirect partner or a direct partner, Work 365 helps you create game-changing opportunities and really gives you peace of mind. I wanted to share some quotes here. We launched Work 365 officially on March 1st. We've had some good early success. We have partners using it now in 4 different countries around the world. We have direct and indirect partners using the solution with some good success. The first one's a leading Dynamics partner based out of Seattle, Washington. The reason she wanted to use the solution was primarily to have one system to track all their Dynamics licenses and changes that they were selling to their customers. Right? They enjoy the change management and the tracking that the system has out of the box. Then there's another early partner that's based out of India. The reason they wanted to use it is because of some of the data concerns. They were using Dynamics and they wanted to be able to, they want to scale their business, and they didn't want to use an outside system because they're concerned a little bit about their data. They want to keep everything within their CRM and not have to go outside and administer a brand new system, right? So hopefully you can see some of the genuine sentiments we've been able to collect over the last couple of months. So here is the Work 365 difference. It's built on Dynamics. So as you all know, you can leverage your IURs to lower these costs and also take advantage of the stuff and benefits from Microsoft. You have complete control of your data like we talked about. So regardless of which service provider or disti you use, it gives you the flexibility to make the best choices for your customers and business. Whether you buy from one disti or more than one disti or directly from your vendor or customers, you have a consistent for your customers. You see a consistent operation, right? And our pricing is not based on the revenue you generate because we believe that is just wrong. Your revenue is your business, and whether you have a $1,000 customer or $50,000 contract with the customer, it really doesn't matter. So So I wanted to share with you on the call today some of the results and experience we've had using this approach. As I mentioned, we have about 400 cloud customers using the solution around the world. For us, our customer renewal rate for the last 12 months is about 95%. Our customer acquisition cost has dropped, which means we don't need more salespeople to scale the business. Our internal processes like accounting costs have dropped by about 80%. It would take us about 2 to 3 hours, as I mentioned. Now it takes us only about 15 minutes a day, and only the accounting team is involved. Our opportunity close ratio is significantly higher. And I understand, these stats are boring and no one likes numbers, but I'll just say this, our business has been growing hugely. And what we can do now is continue to scale without adding more headcount. So where are we at in the journey and what we want to do, right? We want to help partners build and run a profitable cloud business using Dynamics. Today we have these capabilities in the application. We can install the application for you in about an hour and set it up. What we have right now is full subscription management, including service-based subscriptions, license-based subscriptions, and usage-based subscriptions, which covers pretty much most of it, I think, in terms of the kind of services you might sell on a subscription basis. We have automatic invoice generation capabilities, so you don't have to worry about looking at when to do that or tweak your process to artificially have customers sign up on a specific date. We have product catalog integration with CRM, so you can define your own products and use them as part of the services from subscription management. The self-service portal, as I mentioned, is available through CRM portals, and the email-to-case solution for automating incident management and incident tracking is also available right now. And some of the things we're working on right now is the items I've listed on the other side. We've been releasing new versions of the application every 3 to 4 weeks. We're going to further simplify the onboarding process to make it easy for data entry. We want to integrate with more disties, add more accounting and financial management capabilities. A big part of what we want to do is help with profitability. So we will have features for reconciliation of bills and generating deferred revenue reports. And since all of this data is available in CRM, we will publish content packs for Power BI and add more dashboarding. We're also working on releasing the e-commerce portal, which will be available potentially in the second half of the calendar year. Now, I wanted to close out with some of the final remarks and some call to actions for us, right? We've started a Yammer group. The link is up there. Please join the Yammer group. I've listed it here, and we'll make this recording available on that Yammer group as well. And we want to use that to, have that discussion around what we're doing to run the CSP business and use Work 365 and how we're using Work 365. Over the last 2 months, we've had partners using the application for free. We have a free usage and promotional period that's ending in June. However, we're now going to close this program, and partners coming on board after May 11th will have an onboarding fees of $950. There will be no longer a free usage period after May 11th. So if you're not already using the application and you're interested in using it, please email us at readytogo@work365apps. It literally takes a phone call and about an hour to set it up and install the application. Inspire is around the corner. If you're visiting, we'd love to catch up there and talk a little bit more about how we can help each other with the CSP and using Dynamics CRM, and some more contact information for me out there. If you need to schedule a one-on-one demo, I'm happy to do that. Here's a link to do that. This will directly give you a scheduling application where you can request time that's convenient for you, and for us to have that one-on-one demo. Now, that's all I had for now.